It's getting to the end of year 2024, and I know for 2025 a lot of us are considering starting our own YouTube channels and considering which niche we should go to. But I know a lot of people are really attracted to the fragrance community, because if you are not an audience, you are a participant. You are buying like in drones, you are buying secretly, hiding it from your parents, from your partner, from yourself. You're hiding parcels that are coming in every day, and you would love to at least start a fragrance channel. It looks attractive, the glitz and the glamour behind a lot of these fragrance channels. It looks very attractive, and people would want to just step their foot in it and be content creators concentrating on fragrances. But I'm here to give you the harsh realities of being a fragrance reviewer or someone who is into fragrances and has a channel. It is different if you do not have a channel but you still love fragrances, and it's equally different when you have a channel that you need to sustain and be relevant and be on top of what is trending and all those. So I'm just here to give you the harsh realities of starting up a fragrance channel and my reasons why I don't think you should start a fragrance channel in 2025. This is not to discourage you. I'm here to give you a harsh reality check here as someone who has done this for almost 2 years. And although I consider my niche the most affordable alternative as compared to other niches like the niche and designer fragrances, I do largely Middle Eastern fragrances. I speak about them, and even with that, it is quite a harsh reality to bear. So let me just get to the chase here. One of the reasons why I would say do not get into fragrance community, more specifically on YouTube or any other social platform, is the fact that when you look at the current trend, you have a lot of fragrance reviewers who are now talking about overconsumption. The whole trend of overconsumption is a result of emotional, financial, burden that has been raiding on people as a result of the fragrance addiction. It could be an addiction, it could be just a hobby, whatever it is going to have a toll on you, either financially, psychologically, mentally. It's got a lot of angles to it. When you look at a lot of these overconsumption videos, I'm narrowing it down to fragrance reviewers or people who have been fragrance reviewers and are now drawing back and doing something else, or have totally, let their channels go and they are doing something else. These are people who were very, happy and, bubbly and, the startup of their channels. They were very hopeful that it was going to be something amazing, share their knowledge, doing it as a hobby. Most of them do it as hobbies, and then sometimes it can turn into something else. So these people, for example, did a lot of these things out of hobby, sharing ideas, and at some point in time, it became a bit overwhelming to them. I've seen quite a few people here on YouTube, on Fracom, the fragrance community, who have come to that realization that it is no longer for them, because of their mental, physical, and financial health. Fragrance channels are going to drain you financially. It is going to drain you financially. You must be prepared financially before you start up a fragrance channel. The idea of receiving PR, idea of receiving, packages from people seem feasible, but it is not the most realistic. If you are new and you are starting up, I don't think you ever want to have the idea that your channel is going to be based on PR or receiving things, that is not going to sustain a channel. The idea of PR is far-fetched for a lot of people who have even had their channels for, for years. Myself, as an example, I've been on YouTube for 2 years. I hardly receive any fragrance PR. So you cannot say you are building a fragrance channel based on PR. You need to invest a lot of money. And I wouldn't even call it investment, because you're not getting much returns from it. Most of the value of these fragrances are going to depreciate over time, and you may not be able to recoup the amount you made, in your initial investment, even at the end of the day. You're not guaranteed that people are going to watch. You're not guaranteed about anything. It is a matter of taking the risk and seeing how the outcome is. Nothing is guaranteed when it comes to YouTube, but when it comes to fragrances, it is already very saturated, and a lot of people seem to be getting in more and more. And as the saying goes, there's a space, I think people say there's a space for everybody, which I believe there is, because everybody has their own personality and style that resonates with other people. So there definitely is a space for everybody. But are you looking into doing it as a hobby or as something that can progress into a career? If you are doing it as a hobby, that is fine. If you are looking into doing it, as a career, long-term, something that is going to generate money for you, it is going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of money that you might not know what the outcome is going to be. Nothing is guaranteed. You're never promised of getting anything in return after pumping in thousands and thousands of dollars in your channel. A lot of people who are now, preaching overconsumption when it comes to fragrance community, who have been in it and are now out, you can really see some of them have shared their testimony of being in debt just because of having a fragrance channel. The harsh reality is a lot of people are in debt, owing banks and other facilities and credit card and all those cards debts, just because we want to keep up with appearances. Your other colleagues are doing the hauls. To stay relevant in fragrance community, you would need to do the hauls. The hauls are in that like a silent requirement that the audience are requiring from you. There is always the newest, shiniest thing that is coming out. People want to see the newest, shiny thing. You'll be required indirectly, whether it is spoken or unspoken, to do all those hauls to give people, what is new. People might say, okay, just post whatever you want, and it could be the old fragrances and I'll watch. Do that and see the numbers drop. That is not to say if you go with the old fragrances, you're not going to get the views. If you are looking into views, you're most likely going to get them with newer, most shiny items. If you're looking at it as a hobby, it doesn't really matter what you post. People are still going to watch you if they really resonate and identify, with you. So it depends on you and what you are looking at. But I know for the most part, people would at least want to recoup something, at the end of the day, after spending thousands and thousands, like yearly or sometimes each month. There is a lot of competition, in fragrances, because there are lots of new releases. People are showing the most shiny things. I'm personally someone who will show a lot of current releases, because I have done that. I don't have any problem with that. That is sort of my style of doing my fragrance review. I love to give my audience the newest shiny thing, let them know what is up, what is current on the market. I love to do that, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that requires money, even though someone will say it is just Middle Eastern. Yes, it is just Middle Eastern, but that is a lot of money. So if you're not willing to put in the money, that you are never promised of getting anything, the mental, the financial, sometimes even the physical agility to be doing YouTube, you might break down eventually. The next thing I want to talk about is your time. You need to make time out of no time to be able to stay relevant on YouTube. Even if you are doing it as a hobby, it requires, persistent and consistent upload. People will remember you, have you in mind when at least they see you every now and then, even if it's a hobby. But if you plan on doing this, full time or making something out of it in any way, you need to be consistent. Your uploads, being reliable. You don't post today and post in 4 weeks or in 5 weeks. People will easily forget you, and the algorithm is so unforgiving that it will quickly forget you once you sort of jeopardize your chances of not uploading frequently. I know life happens, people have families, people have a lot of things to do, so YouTube might not necessarily be their number one priority. However, if you really want to stay relevant, I am new on YouTube 2 years and I'm barely finding my feet, but these are just my experience and what I want to share. If you really want to sort of stay kind of relevant here, you need to put in the time. sometimes it is so heartbreaking when you see your colleagues, your peers, people who started before you, people, you started this at the same time with, who took a break for some reason. It could be health, personal, marriage, children, education, whatever it is, coming back on YouTube after taking like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years break, and the algorithm never goes into goes in their favor. It is sad, but that is the sad reality of YouTube. The algorithm will forget about you. A lot of people will forget about you. You are as relevant as your current videos that you are putting out. The more current you are, the more relevant you are. So you need to spend a lot of time filming, uploading, giving people the most shiniest thing, although that is not that shouldn't be the focus, but people are looking at that. So if you are not ready for that budget, that mental, physical, emotional, financial burden, you are not ready to have your own channel in 2025 or even any other time. If you're not ready to commit the time, you are not ready to have that YouTube channel, because it's not going to do well if you don't put in the time. One thing you should also be aware is the fact that although it's a fragrance channel, people are looking beyond the fragrance. People are looking at your personality, at you, your appearance, your hair, your makeup, your clothing. It is quite a vain visual, platform. YouTube and other social media platform. It is quite a vain visual one. People are looking at you. They want to see you put together. So if you are not willing to put in that work, it is a lot of work trying to do your hair, your makeup, and all those things just to be in front of your camera to film. Occasionally you might want to, maybe you are not a makeup person, that is not your style. There's a crowd for you. People would resonate with you just because you are the natural person. You don't do any makeup. People will resonate with you. But for the most part, my simple, little experience has taught me that people who come across as well put together, because even for me, myself, I would watch a channel if the person is a little put together, than someone who is not, like, who has barely just woken up from bed and is in front of the camera. I wouldn't watch such, fragrances for the most part. I would rather put a little effort in my appearance just to, come across as put together and be taken more seriously. So if you're not willing to be putting that in, then you are not ready to do any YouTube. Another thing I want to talk about is the fact that there's a lot of peer pressure on fragrance community, FACOM. People might call it FOMO, fear of missing out. I would say it is like there's a lot of peer pressure, because you see your friends that you make here on YouTube from other channels having some particular type of fragrances that you would love to have, and sometimes you see like a group of friends having almost the same thing, because everybody has been influenced by one person or the other, and you being part of that, clique or friend group, not having that is like, why don't you have that indirectly? Not that there's anything like you should, there's no requirement, but it's an indirect sort of thing that I see here on YouTube, that amongst a group of people or some groups of people, as soon as you see one person recommend A, B, and C, almost everybody sort of, has to have it, in a way, whether you have the budget for it or not. So if you're not mentally strong to say, no, I don't want this because I cannot afford A, B, and C, you will fall for that fear of missing out and buy things that you don't necessarily need or cannot afford. A lot of us cannot even afford some of those things, but because of fear of missing out, and because our other mentors and friends have them, we sort of indirectly feel the need to have some of these fragrances. So in as much as I would say you would want to make friends here on YouTube, other content creators, you need to be mentally strong to say, no, I don't have the funds, no, I'm not prepared for this. I have something quite similar, so I might not want to get like a bottle of this or that, no matter how it is presented and spoken about highly. Another thing I would like to say is, you might want to go the sample way, you might want to go the sample way. But as I said, YouTube, social media is a very vain visual platform that people want to see the shiny thing, the full bottles. It is not a requirement, but people just want to see. And in as much as you want to get a lot of samples, you would also want to get some full bottles just to balance out the whole, visual thing, giving people that, like, okay, like, this is how the bottle looks like, the packaging, the this and that, and then do your samples. If you're not ready to buy full bottles, sampling is the way to go. But I know there's a segment of Fracom who also do not believe in samples. When you do reviews and you present samples, people go like, you don't have enough of the juice to digest it and know exactly how it smells to be able to give me a review. There is that, group of population that would criticize you, and there are a lot of people who do not mind sample sizes at all. So just know how you want to structure your channel and what you feel comfortable money-wise, budget-wise, to do. Another thing I would like to add is that you should know your strength. Do you have anything that is like far above and beyond the next person? Know your strength. Are you very knowledgeable? If you are not, you might need to start learning about fragrances. A lot of people who do fragrance review will tell you they are no experts, including myself. I have learned a lot, on the job. I have learned so much on the job, and it will come with time and with having lots of fragrances and sampling. You cannot say you are doing fragrance review when you don't have the numbers, the number of fragrances. You need to have numbers. There is nothing like a standard number, but you need to have the numbers, even if it is like sample sizes, to be able to acquaint yourself with a whole range of fragrances and be able to talk about them, be able to compare them. So you should be knowledgeable. Not having knowledge can be your strength. For some people, having money is their strength. Some people do have money, and that is their strength in the fact that they will do hauls upon hauls, like 10, 15 fragrances at a time like every single week. And that is something that a lot of people want to see, that they would watch. That is their strength. There is nothing wrong with having money as your strength and not being knowledgeable about the fragrance, because I see that people have the money, get the PR and receive all those things, so they have the strength of the fragrances, but the knowledge might not be there. But people will come in because you have that strength of being able to have the money to buy lots of fragrances and just showcase them. People like that. Other people appreciate people who are knowledgeable and will give them thorough details, with something they can relate to. Other people have the personality. You can either be that showman that people are going to resonate with, that showmanship, that entertainer, or that gentle, demure person that people can relate to you as a friend, as a mother, as a sister. So it all depends on you. You will have to have something that is like above and beyond someone else. So if it is not your knowledge, it has to be something like money or your personality or your consistency on YouTube. Those things are going to set you apart from the rest. There are so many things and so many reasons why it is quite difficult being on fragrance, YouTube. It requires a lot mentally, physically, emotionally, and then financially. And are you ready to bear all those things? A lot of people have had issues with family because of fragrance addiction and fragrance review. Are you willing to put your family into that, But in all these things, I would never discourage anyone from, being happy and expressing themselves. There is always a time and a place, not a time and a place. There is always there's a space for everybody. If you want to express yourself once every year with your YouTube channel, that is acceptable. But know that nobody is going to have time for you when you post once in a year and come back. Nobody's going to have that time for you. So regardless of how you want to see this thing, it's a lot. The money is going to drain you. Trolls are going to come after you. People are going to criticize you no matter what you do, from your hair, your makeup, your diction, to the type of fragrances you speak about, to the quality of the juice. If people are going to criticize you regardless, just because you exist. People some people will hate you for that, you know, just because of your existence. So you need to be very aware of your trolls, the trolls, and how to handle them. Are you ready to be mentally prepared to receive such harsh criticisms? I receive them quite a lot. Sometimes I address them. Sometimes I've been advised not to, you know. So it's a lot of things. And that is the reason why I say you do not need to have a fragrance channel. However, I'm going to bring you a video where I'm going to show you how to do set up a fragrance channel. Not set up, you know, but why you would want to do that, or how to come, you know, how to get your own channel, how to start a fragrance channel. I'm not here to discourage anybody, but I'm here to just share the harsh realities of life. There are a lot of things behind the scene that people do not see. Is the glitz and the glamour on here on, you know, YouTube. And if people will be very honest and tell you, it is not about the glitz and glamour that, you know, we see. The saying goes, all that glitters is not gold. And it is the harsh reality. And you see that, you know, with people coming out and saying, no, I can't do this anymore, is overwhelming. Even getting those number of fragrances can be overwhelming. The space to store them, the money involved, you know, the strain it has on relationships, the strain it has on your physical being, because you are constantly have to be researching, be on, you know, on the ground, know what's up, know what is new. Is a lot of work. And are you prepared for that? I don't think so. If you are, why not? So I think this is what I want to share today, you know, and hopefully it helps someone. Hopefully it does help someone. And I hope to see you in 2025 with your channel, if you so wish to be on YouTube. But stay tuned for that video that I want to do, that is like the opposite of this one, you know. And yeah, I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye bye.